The Titans' schedule is now out. We know who we're playing and when. A couple primetime games sprinkled in the mix. We're going to go through each game individually, talk about what we think this Titan team will do in the 2023 season, and much more on this week's episode of Talking Titans. Sammy, start me up.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Talking Titans.
Ladies and gentlemen, 94 yards. Touchdown, Titans! He is the baddest man in the NFL, and he just took her to the house.
The sickest Tennessee Titans podcast.
Sick!
It's gonna be sick.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another edition of the Sick Podcast, Talking Titans. I'm joined always by my two co-hosts, Jared and Vin. We're all decked out in our sick gear tonight. Finally arrived at my house. I'm out of the doghouse. I got my gear, and I'm ready to rock and roll. How you fellas doing tonight?
Pretty good,
Doing
man.
good, back from vacation. You guys held it down last week. I don't think it was that funny, obviously, but, it was still a pretty good show. Listened to it one day on the beach, and, good to be back, though.
There you go. Way to support the channel. Way to support the boys.
Absolutely. We'll try to kick up the comedy level next time you're out a little bit more, but we're happy to have you implanted back into the show, of course. Got a lot to cover tonight. As we mentioned last week, once we were doing our next show, the schedule would be out. We know who we're playing. We know what time of year we're playing them. And we even got, unbelievably, a couple night games in the mix, which I wasn't assuming we were going to get any, but maybe the national media knows something we don't about who might be the quarterback and how good he might do. I don't know. We'll get into that, but let's dive right into it. So why don't we start off by showing everyone at home our schedule for the 2023 season, and there you will see all of our predictions. Let's just go one at a time here. I think the football gods did us a favor, giving us what some people might deem on paper a relatively favorable matchup on the road week one. Looks like, the three of us are a little bit not on the same page, and we'll get into it. So let's just start it off. Jared, what do you think we're doing week one, and how do you feel about the Saints being our first opponent of the year?
I kind of like it. New quarterback going into it's Derek Carr with Dennis Allen. I mean, they're very familiar with each other, but it's his first year with the Saints. Who knows if Michael Thomas is going to play? They have a really good defense, but you know what? I like our defense pressuring Derek Carr and getting the win. We do open up. Vegas has us +3 at the Saints as early spreads, so I will take that money too as well.
Vin?
I think it's going to be a tougher game. I always think New Orleans is a tough place to play. My brother's in-laws are from New Orleans, and they've been to plenty of games, and they said it rivals any game they've been to here. That place literally shakes. And I do think they're going to be better than people think they are. I think Carr is a good quarterback. Is he top 5? No, but at his best, I believe he can be a top 10, top 12 guy, similar to what Tannehill is like when you surround him with adequate talent, which I think he has. I mean, you still have Kamara, you still have Olave. They have that tight end. His name's on the tip of my tongue. His last name is Johnson. I know that. He came on pretty strong last year. They have a pretty solid defense as well. And could I see us winning that game? Sure. But I don't think we go into New Orleans week one with the weapons we currently have and keep up with them.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'll get this out of the way now, right off the bat. Obviously, this is a tough thing to do without knowing for certainty, and I mean absolute certainty, who the quarterback's going to be, right? It appears all indications are pointing that Ryan Tannehill is going to be the guy, but crazier things have happened, especially with this organization. So I think it's safe to assume right now that a lot of my estimations are with Ryan Tannehill being the quarterback. But we could always revisit this again if sometime after June 1st, a certain cut is made, because then we'll have to rethink what we're looking at. But we'll have to assume that Ryan Tannehill will be the guy, and then we'll get our guesses in accordingly. So for me, I think we'll beat the Saints. They don't scare me in any way, shape, or form. I think we have a pretty decent history against Derek Carr. Yeah. I think we contain him pretty well. And they still have, I think they have some serious holes on the defensive side of the football still. And, I think they're going to go through a little bit of growing pains with Carr before they get their feet under them. I think we can take care of them.
Especially week one.
But as you can take a glance at from me, the Twilight Zone starts after that. But for you guys, you got some more optimistic viewpoints. So we'll get right into week 2. We are at home to the Chargers. Vin, why don't you start us off? You got us definitely upsetting the Chargers. I'll tell you right now, that line will not be in our favor no matter who the quarterback is. Tell me what you're thinking on that game.
Well, I'll tell you why. I'm going to tell you right now. First off, my buddy Blaze, I've talked about here before. Big Chargers.
Shout out, Blaze.
Shout out my boy Blaze, oldest friend, been boys for literally 27, 28 years at this point, since we were 3 or 4 years old. Big Herbert fan, so I can't give him the satisfaction of telling him and all of our listeners that the Chargers will beat us. Now, I do think, though, there is a realistic chance that we could beat them, and that's not exactly the reason why. I'm a big fan of when West Coast teams travel to the East Coast, especially for a 1 o'clock game. It fucks with them a little bit. Historically, it's tougher to do for a West Coast team to come here, especially when it's at a 1 o'clock game. 4 o'clock, okay. Night game, okay. 1 o'clock game, you're losing hours, and you're traveling across the country. Can also tell you right now that is going to be a game where everyone and their mother is betting the Chargers. And usually when everyone and their mother bets one team, I like to go the opposite way. I love nothing more than betting on a home dog. I think we will cover whatever that spread is. I imagine it'll probably be 5 or 6.
Opens right now at +3.5 for us.
+3.5. Okay. Well,
wow, I would jump all over
exactly
the Chargers on that.
Exactly. So Sal Mush over there could bet the Chargers all night. And
I'd never ever bet against Tennessee. I never will, but I understand what you're getting.
Good thought. Okay. So, anyways, yeah, I think we steal week 2 on the road. At home against the Chargers, and that's how I feel about that. Sorry, Blaze.
Sadly, I'm going to agree with Blaze, and I think we're going to get upset in our home opener against the Chargers. I think they just have way too much firepower on offense with Justin Herbert, especially them adding pieces to the offense this year. And their pass rush, I think, is just outstanding, especially for our offensive line. It's going to be a brand new offensive line to get cohesiveness. I don't think it's going to be that cohesive right away. So I think they may struggle against that pass rush, and I think the Chargers are going to get it done in Nashville.
Yeah. And I forgot to bring this up for the last game, too. This is also doing this assuming that our receiving core is going to be as it stands now, which unfortunately looks like it's possible more each day that passes.
I went more of the lines that they're going to get somebody. So I was 50-50 with my wins and losses.
Yeah.
So I'll give them that.
I mean, we'll get it. We can get into that before we close out. I don't know. Outside of trade, which is still a possibility, I think unlikely, but still a possibility. I don't see how anyone they could bring in off of a cut team is going to impact the schedule that we're looking at here greatly. So, all these picks I'm giving is with Treylon Burks and a coin flip of who the second best receiver on the field is going to be. Chargers, as it stands now, I think we get blown out. I don't foresee us even keeping this a game. Chargers are getting better every year. Herbert's getting better every year. Historically, we are absolutely awful against this team. And this dates back all the way to Steve McNair. I mean, Phillip Rivers would bury us year in, year out. So I don't foresee anything changing as it stands now. So let's jump into week 3. We are in Cleveland, Deshaun Watson and company. Jared's optimistic about this one. Tell us why.
Don't like Deshaun Watson. Don't like the Browns. I think we go in to Cleveland after a letdown at home. And believe it or not, the odds for that game has us +4.5. So how we're getting another point with the Browns versus the Chargers is beyond me. But I think we handle business in Cleveland. I'm not scared of that. I think the defense still has holes a little bit, and I'm not afraid of that offense, especially with Deshaun Watson right now.
Good.
Yeah, I disagree. Although I don't like Deshaun Watson, obviously, as a person, he's an extremely talented quarterback who I feel as though what we saw when he came back last year isn't going to be the guy we see going forward. They added Elijah Moore. They have Amari Cooper. They have Njoku. They have, my opinion, the second best running back in the league next to Derrick Henry and Nick Chubb. And I think their defense is formidable. And Cleveland is not an easy place to play. Bunch of goofy fans out there, but it does get a little rowdy. And I think we will, coming off our emotional win in week 2, I think on the road we will unfortunately falter against the Browns week 3.
Yeah, I think the Browns are going to be one of the most underrated teams in the league this year. I think they're going to be wildly better than probably a lot of people have them predicted to be going into the season. I think Deshaun Watson's going to have his coming back or comeback player of the year type year. He'll never win it, obviously, because they're not going to give someone who sexually assaults women comeback player of the year. But I think he's going to have those kind of numbers. So I think they're going to win upwards of 11, 12 games. And I certainly don't foresee the Titans being a team that could have many answers for them, at least offensively. So that's where I'm at there. And now we really get into kind of a Twilight Zone part of the schedule here. Next up, week 4, one of the few games we all agree, even at home, the Bengals are going to take care of us. Vin, start us off. Why?
We could breeze past this one. They have our number. They have a top 3 quarterback in the league. They're extremely well-rounded offense, defense, and we won't be able to keep up with them. And historically, they have owned us the last few years. So even the year where we were solid and they were pretty bad, they still managed to beat us, albeit I was in Cincinnati. But last few years, we can't beat them, and they've only gotten better. And right now, this Titans team is a coin flip. So I just don't see us beating them.
It wouldn't shock me if we did beat them at home. Well, I definitely don't see us winning this game. Joe Burrow has our number, like he said, and the offense is way too strong. So
yeah, it's pretty cut and dry, guys. Everyone kind of knows the situation. We'd like to hope one day, maybe when a certain quarterback drafted this year gets his feet under him, we can compete with the big boys in the North. And we hope we have our Joe Cool in a sense. I don't know what his name is. Maybe Big Willie, something along those lines.
Big
Game Willie, huh?
Willie Bayman.
Yeah, I came up with Will he is something like that. But we'll figure it out. Obviously, it can be this year though. So that's it. That's probably the easiest one we can guess here.
You want an early line for that game?
Make me laugh. Go ahead.
+4.5.
+4.5. I mean, the only thing I can assume is that they're begging people to take Cincinnati. I don't know why, but
the only line you could take seriously right now is week 1 because you're an injury away from that line being way different in weeks 2 and 3.
These are projections. Too.
Yeah.
Oh, so you can't bet these lines. These are just okay. Yeah, no, that'll obviously.
Well, maybe
change.
I didn't get on FanDuel or DraftKings. Shout out to those guys. No free shout outs to them. But
yeah,
I don't know if we can or not.
Week 1 you could bet. I don't think you could bet anything further than that, though.
I'm going to take a leap of faith and say that line is going to change before that ball is kicked off, and I could tell you I think it's going to go north. Moving on, I'll start this one off briefly to make it cut and dry as far as the AFC South games. I'm taking an even split. I think it could change how it happens, but I'm just going to say we're going to win the home games, going to lose the road games. I think we can conceivably split all 3 teams. So that's all that was for me. I decided when I did my predictions that I was going to give all the road division games an L and all the home division games a win. So that's really what it boils down to. It's a coin flip, especially with the Colts. If it's Minshew, if it's Richardson, who knows? But division game, no matter what, it's going to be tight. We always let our fans down in games we're supposed to win easily anyway. So that's where I'm at. Jared?
Not Indy. I'm not all bought in on Anthony Richardson, like I said. And going into this schedule, we play 3 rookie quarterbacks, and we play 2 of them 4 times in Anthony Richardson and CJ Stroud. So I'm not buying the rookie hype just yet, especially with Ryan Tannehill under center. You can make fun of me all you want, but our RT is definitely QB1 right now, and I think they handle business with the Colts. We have their number, and I don't see us splitting with them, but I see them splitting with Houston and the Jaguars.
Fuck the Colts. That's my reasoning. We've owned them. They got a rookie quarterback as well. They don't scare me in any way, shape, or form. They seem like they've been extremely lost franchise since Peyton. They ruined Andrew Luck. They haven't been able to get it right since. Division rival. Every Colts fan crowns themselves every year along with the national media for whatever reason. And I'm not in on the Colts. We're going to beat them, and we're going to beat them twice. So, fuck them.
I hope you're right. Honestly, I do. I hope you're right.
Early lines, they have us +1 too. The first 6 games, we're all underdogs, which is crazy.
It's not. I would respectfully disagree about it being crazy. I mean, again, it's tough when you look at our opening day projected starting lineup at receiver. It's I think laughable would be an understatement. It really is. I mean, Racey McMath is slated to start the whole freaking year at this rate. Like that is alarming in a lot of ways. And even if they wanted to tank, there should be no reason that happens. Like there's better guys that should be playing in a tank year than Racey McMath, who's done literally nothing for this football team since he's been here. So, we'll see. Again, it is what it is. Let's move on. Somehow, some way, the two of you fellas think that we're going to beat the Ravens with this lineup. I would love to hear how and why. Vin, you want to do the honors?
Fuck them too. That's why.
Fuck them all. Trust me.
Exactly.
Fuck them all.
Exactly.
No, I think that's obviously going to be a tough game, but the fact that I think it's at a neutral location, anything can happen. It's going to be an emotional game. The Ravens are probably the Titans' biggest rival, I would say, since we've moved to Nashville, all the way to Nashville, I should say, all the way from the George days with him going against Ray Lewis. I mean, great rivalry, even to modern day. We beat them a few years ago to get to the title game. They beat us the next year in the wild card round.
And stomp all over our logo.
Yeah, exactly. We won't ever forget that. Another reason why, fuck them. So, by week 6, I'm assuming Lamar Jackson's going to have some sort of, nick, cut, or sprain. And, I think we'll be able to make that game an ugly game. And that's usually how we win in general. But I think it's going to be closer than people think, because I'm sure people will gloss over that and say the Ravens are going to beat their ass. But I don't see that happening. I think it's going to be a close game, and we will come out on top.
I think, like Vinny said, I think it's going to be, we're going over a pond. It's going to suck for both teams. Probably short week, too, because we're flying. And even though it's on Sunday, but it's an early morning game. But like you said, I think Lamar Jackson may possibly get hurt. He may be dinged up. We come in, take advantage of it, and you can mark it down on the calendar right now. We win this game in London by a field goal, a game-winning field goal by one of our kickers.
Who's kicking it?
I don't know, but it's going to be a game-winning field goal in London.
Literally, as far as history is shown, there's that would be the odds of that happening. Winning a game in London on the foot of a Titans kicker would probably be plus 1,000.
Say here first.
But you say here first. Listen, when you're bringing up a possible quarterback injury as to justify why we might win this game, there's probably some reason for concern. I appreciate the optimism, but I don't see it happening.
Vrabel has his number though, man. He plays him well.
They hate each other too. They hate each other too. Remember when they got each other's faces?
Yeah.
Fellas, again, I don't. Just the difference here, the outlier is this team right now has just no aerial attack. You want to talk about possible injuries? Traylon Burks might not be on this free football field for this game. You got to travel across the
world. It's May those words. Why would you even put that in the fucking atmosphere?
You're out.
Yeah, I get it. We were talking about Lamar Jackson, not our only receiver.
Listen, you can kibosh. You can reverse kibosh. All right, I'll take it back. I'm just I got to prepare myself for the worst. I got us fucking going 1-6 before the bye. Obviously,
I'm on my run right here.
Yeah, you're on the run. I'm on a run towards the freaking GW bridge. So I'm about to jump off of it once we hit this bye week at 1-6. But the good news is, if we're 1-6 going into the bye, guess who's going to get a nice, easy, soft game at home after the bye, number 8, and then, according to my list, we start making a run, and it could be with a different gentleman under center, but we'll get into that later. We'll just continue to assume that Ryan Tannehill is going to be playing out this whole season. So we're 1-6. You guys have us at 4-2, 3-3. Okay, I'm not on suicide watch yet. We hit the bye week, not the worst bye week, week 7. I'd still like it to be closer to week 12, 13, but I can survive. It's better than last year. What was it, week 4 or 5 last year?
It was early.
Ridiculous. But let's go. We're moving on. Week 8 off the bye. We are home to the Atlanta Falcons. Another game we all agree on. Jarrett, start us off. What you think on that game?
Hosting Art Smith coming back to Nashville with Desmond Ridder, who does not scare me whatsoever. I don't care if he has Bijan Robinson. And their defense is still shaky. I got us coming off a bye.
Yeah, I think they could be a decent team this year. Ritter takes the next step with Robinson, with Drake London, with Kyle Pitts if he gets it together. That division's very, very weak. That being said, I think we take care of business at home against our former offensive coordinator who, wish him nothing but the best because it's been some dark days on the offensive side of the ball since he left. But I don't see him coming into Tennessee and Vrabel allowing his underling to beat him in his own house. And if you look at our schedule, I know it's one of the weaker ones in the league. The win percentage of the teams was like 485 or something like that. I don't know. I'm pulling numbers out of thin air here, but I know we have one of the weaker schedules.
500.
Yeah, just under 500. One of the weaker schedules in the league. So if you go down this list, I feel like this is a game. If we want to contend for that division, we have to win. So that's another reason why I think we take care of business here.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely is going to have to be a game that you're going to look back on and say this is why we did or didn't get to the postseason. Listen, I'll tell you what. I think if Desmond Ridder is the quarterback, I really like our chances. But there's a very good possibility that Taylor Heineke might be the quarterback by this time. They brought him in. He's got a decent resume under his belt. He's still pretty young. I don't think they brought him in for nothing.
No, I like that kid a lot.
I love that.
Very capable backup for sure.
He's a very capable, and you can make an argument right now. He's a better option than Ridder at the moment.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So we'll see how that turns out. If he's playing against us, I think that game could really flip over to the other side. But we'll see. Hopefully it's Ridder, and we take care of business. Moving on to our first of 2 primetime games of the year. This is the Thursday night game. Am I correct? Yeah, Thursday night. So short week after hopefully a fairly obtainable win against Atlanta. We're going to Pittsburgh. So Vin, start us off. You're not feeling great about that one.
No, I do not. I think we've historically have always struggled in Pittsburgh. I think they're a team that can also take the next step forward. I think a lot of people are, overlooking Kenny Pickett. I do think he's going to be – not saying he's going to be a top 10 guy, but I do think he's going to be a starting caliber quarterback that I think has already won over that franchise and that fan base. I also think they're never a tough out, and especially on a short week. I think that's a Thursday night game. If I'm not mistaken, no,
yeah,
get a Thursday night game. So we're going to be traveling on a short week. I don't like that at all. Last time we did that is the week after we beat Cincinnati in 2016. We went to Pittsburgh on a short week and got fucking obliterated. Obviously, that was a different team, but I believe they have a lot of young talent, and they drafted extremely well. The tackle from Tennessee, Darnell Washington, I think they did a phenomenal job in the draft, and I don't see us going to Pittsburgh on a short week and winning that game.
Well, the train keeps rolling for me as we win 4 in a row in Pittsburgh on Thursday night. I'm not impressed with Kenny Pickett just yet. He's got to prove it to me, and I think it's going to be a defensive game, just like with the Ravens game. And I'm picking our defense over anyone's defense, especially Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. So that's what I'm going with here.
Yeah,
we're going to play keep away with Derrick Henry too.
Yeah, I mean this was one of the small handful of games that was just a coin flip. Like this is a game that I put down as a win for my sanity because I can't, I'll be up at night all night going into the season assuming we're going to, lose 14 games, which is possible, but I'm not going to believe it. So this is one of those coin flip games that I was like, you know what, I'm going to give it to us. And that's it. We historically don't play well in Pittsburgh at all. Historically on prime time, we don't play Pittsburgh well at all. So, we'll see. Maybe the tide will turn for us this year, but this was a coin flip game that I, tipped the pot over to Vrabel's side. So let's move on to week 10, which some can argue probably might be our easiest matchup of the year, knock on wood, but on paper, Tampa Bay slated to be one of the worst teams in the league, understandably so. All across the board, we got wins. Jarrett, give us your analysis on this one.
It's just the Buccaneers. I believe Baker Mayfield's there.
He is.
I mean, he lit us up in Cleveland, but I don't see it happening there. They're in rebuild mode right now, and my train keeps rolling in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I think this is a game too that we take care of business. I think the Bucs are going to be sellers at the deadline too.
Yeah.
I think Evans is a name that's going to garner some interest. I think they lost a lot in free agency the last couple of years, and I think they're going to be in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes, to be honest with you. I think they're going to be a team that wins no more than 5 games. And although I think Tennessee should take care of business, it'd be the most Titans thing for us to be so overly confident, and then that's one of their 5 wins, the Bucs.
And you got to remember that Vrabel's record coming off a Thursday night with extended period of time off, he has a really good record too.
Okay, so that's another reason why potentially we're going to have that. I also, if you look at the week 7 bye and then week 8 and week 9, we have the bye week 7 and the short bye after week 9 because then we won't play a game till the following Sunday. So if you want to play salesman and twist that it could work in our advantage too. We're going to kind of have, a bye and then the short bye within the 3-week span. So I think we handle business in Tampa. I think they're going to be a bad team, and I think we should win that game.
Yeah, it's another game where if you look at the season outside looking in, if we're looking to contend, you got to take this one. Absolutely. This is a absolute must win in order to get to your possible 9-10 win season and contend for the South. So let's move on. Week 11. We are in Jacksonville across the board. Have this one for Big L. Then you can start us off.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, everyone's all over the Jags this year. I'm not exactly all over them. They will have a first-place schedule. The jury's out on them. They are good. They're going to get everyone's best shot now. I think we will. No, I have us losing both games to them, but I don't see us going to Jacksonville. I think if we're going to win one of those games, it's going to be at home against them, not week 11 in Jacksonville. They're going to be good again. Could we beat them? Sure, but they are home, and I will give them the advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same thing with me here. The bus stops here in Jacksonville. Emotions are high. Division game. Here's the split for me. We're winning week 18 at home. Whether it'll be must win or not must win game, either way we're going to win this game. I think it's going to be a tough, hard fought division game, but I think they prevail.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it. It pains me to say it, but really, I mean, as it stands now, Jacksonville is on their way up, and we're possibly on our way down. I mean, just the way it is. This team reminds me a lot of us once Ryan Tannehill took over and we started getting rolling and the coaching staff started doing their job and our defense started performing and all of our offensive talent started to shine. And that's what's happening here, man. I mean, look, Jacksonville snuck in as an AFC South winner just like we did. We won 9 games right the year Tannehill took off, and then the next year we were a killer and we were number 1 team in the AFC. So wouldn't shock me if Jacksonville took that next step. Nobody wants to talk about Calvin Ridley added into that already potent offense. I think they had a great coach that's a little underrated in the league. And
definitely not. Doug Peterson's a hell of a coach.
Well, yeah, I don't think he's underrated at this point. He won a Super Bowl in Philly and took the Jags out from the dead.
But I'm just saying he's not the name that's tossed around as far as the upper echelon in the league. He's
just
not.
No.
Because that's all I meant by that.
Yeah,
but he's a great coach. I think the world of him, and I think Philly's gonna probably they're doing just fine. But regardless, I just don't see us doing it. I think the torch is in their hand right now, and until we get a franchise quarterback, we're not gonna be able to take it from them. So we got to start with that and hope we find the guy and hope we have the guy. So moving on, we have a home matchup against the Bryce Young led Carolina Panthers. Jarrett, you don't have that going our way. I know you're high in them this year. Tell us why.
I just like what they did in the offseason. I mean, I was going back and forth with this game a lot. I just gave them the loss at home. They added a lot and they surrounded Bryce Young with a ton of talent on offense and their defense they added to as well. I think, Bryce Young could come in. Mike Vrabel could be good at, against rookie quarterbacks. Who knows? But I just led towards the Panthers that way. I really like them this year, and I think they're going to win the NFC South.
Yeah. Fair enough, although I wholeheartedly disagree. I think they will be better than people expect. I don't see them, dropping any jaws this year. We'll see if Bryce Young makes it to Week 12. Those pictures in his rookie minicamp,
They are ridiculous.
He looked like a fucking
They look
child.
photoshopped. They do.
It's sad. But listen, if he stays upright, they did a lot of good things in free agency. I think Frank Reich is a good head coach. But I think at home, along with the same reason why I think that Falcons game has to be a win, at home, looking at this schedule, this is a game they're going to have to win if they want to compete for that division. No ifs, ands, or buts. And let's not get it twisted. As the year goes on, after Week 11, Week 12, Week 13, tackling Derrick Henry, it becomes a little harder at the end of the year. So, I have them winning, the last 4 out of our last 7 games. So I think we take care of business there.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this was another game that it was a coin flip game that I had, put it on our side just to make myself feel a little better. Could we lose this game? Absolutely. We talked about, and I know, Jarrett, you mentioned them winning division last week, and I was a little taken back on it at first, but I'm looking at their vision. It's so winnable. Like, honestly, I mean, really, you could argue the Saints are probably the only threat. I don't see the Falcons winning 8-9 games yet. They're just, no matter how good this kid is at running back, I still think they're a little way away. So they could easily win this division. I think they can run away with it, honestly, if everything goes according to plan. I mean, their defense is good. The weapons are there. Bryce Young just basically has to not implode, and I think they're going to be able to win 8, 9, 10 games. So
if Arthur Smith is out there watching us three on the Sick Podcast right now, he should, if he wants to win this division and make a run, he should trade for Ryan Tannehill.
Oh, my God.
After June 1st, take on rework that contract, and give us some draft picks.
We're joking about it, but no, I mean, like, we're being funny-ish about it, but it's honestly so true. Like, he would win that division. He absolutely
100% he would.
With what's his name? Pitts.
Drake London.
Drake London.
I mean,
BJ Robinson. It's the same team, basically.
He'd be sliding right into another situation.
Yep.
Team looking to find the bridge. Good
they just
defense,
don't have that defense
good coach.
yet.
Let's dream about it. Let's talk it into fruition. But for now, unfortunately, that's not on the table as it stands. So we'll monitor it. But I think we can take care of Carolina at home. It's a game. Again, looking back on it, if we want to contend, it's a game you got to win. Moving on, another game we're all in on the same page. Week 13, home to the Colts.
Let's just all three say it at the same time. Fuck the Colts.
Fuck the Colts. That's it. We already went into that. We don't need to talk about it because we already talked about that team. So let's move on. You're right. Week 14 is our second primetime game of the year. That one, I believe, is Monday night.
Yep.
Yeah, I think, Monday night in Miami. Couldn't give us any home primetime games, but beggars can't be choosers. None of us have us winning that game. I'm sure you can understand why, but Vin, start us off.
I also think that could be a fun trip for the boys. Going to be a little cold in the Northeast come Week 14. Maybe a little Monday night, have some fun down in Miami. But anyway,
that's my girlfriend.
That's another topic for another day. I just think they're going to be one of the best teams in football this year, to be honest with you. I really do. I think if Tua stays healthy, if he would have stayed healthy last year, they really could have contended. I think he has all the ability in the world, and I just think he needs to stay on the field. They have offensive weapons out the ass. They added maybe the best cornerback in the league this year to an already very solid defense. And I think it's just going to be a tough ask to go down there in prime time and keep up with them. Albeit, though, like I said, if we want to get down there, put together a trip, I think that one's enticing me. But see how you guys feel about that trip, and more importantly, how you feel about the game in general.
Trip could happen. The game, not so much. The Dolphins, I think, like you said, they're going to be one of the best teams in football. I see them possibly winning that division along with the Jets. I think the Bills finished third in that division this year. Yes, sir, third, and possibly getting a wild card. That's how strong that division is. But if they keep Tua healthy and they keep him upright, I'm telling you right now, this team is going to be very, very dangerous with all the shit that they added this offseason too.
Yeah, no, they're right there. They were right there last year. Injury ruined their season, but they're on the rise, and they're a team that's just really a couple ticks away from being the real deal. So absolutely, I don't even see them having any chance of beating us. But yeah, maybe a trip down to Miami wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. So we'll talk about that as the season. I mean, if we're at the time 6-10 or whatever we would be, that's too many losses. If we're 6-6, whatever, maybe the ticket prices would be a little bit more obtainable. But no, that's not going to be the case. Miami's big time. But moving on, Week 15 at home to Houston. We all got us winning that game. I think it's a coin flip. Any game against Houston or anyone in the division is a coin flip until we take the next step. Vin?
Yeah, I mean, I think if we're going to win this division, we have to win at least 4 games. I have us sweeping the Colts, sweeping the Texans, and then I think we lose, unfortunately, 2 games to the Jags. But this is a game at home that I think we must have. Same thing, not to beat a dead horse. You look at the Falcons game, the Panthers game, the Bucs game. This Texans game's in that same realm where if you want to compete for that division, you have to win. Who knows what their roster could look like Week 15. If they're really bad, they might not even have CJ Stroud out there at that point. Who knows? I'm just playing devil's advocate at this point, but we'll see. Irregardless, actually, that's not a word. Regardless, we'll see what happens. I just don't think we lose this game, or it's a game we can lose, because if we want to compete for that division, we cannot drop either game to the Houston Texans. I know they had a phenomenal draft. They're going to have a nice young head coach, but I still think there's going to be an adjustment phase for them, and I don't see us losing to them at home.
We will not lose this game at home. The Powder Blues are coming out this game. So you want to talk about a game that we want to go to? I'm not going to the Dolphins game. I'm going to this one because it could possibly be a homecoming for the Titans.
That would be enough.
The Powder Blues are out December 17th. We're taking on the rookie quarterback CJ Stroud. I'm going with the Titans.
That would be a hell of a game between the rookies. Oh, man, if Levis was ever playing at that time, and
you want to go to a
jerseys,
game? Let's get us off for a Christmas present. We'll go to the Texans game.
It's gonna be a cold one, but
I think I have a wedding on that Saturday.
The beers are colder.
The beers are colder, and the women are hotter. So, sorry, we can edit that one out. I know you guys, you're both hitched up. I didn't mean that, ladies. I'm sorry.
Oh, for you, you're talking.
For me, just for me. So yeah, I mean, again, this is another game. They have to at least split if they want any shot of making the playoffs, any shot of winning the division. They need to at least win 3 out of 6. So, like I said, I had us winning all the home games, losing all the road games, just to make it easy to do. So, moving on to the Week 16 matchup. This is I think the only game that I have different than the two of you, if I'm looking at it correctly. Nope, there's other games too. But anyway, Seahawks, I think we could take them. This is another coin flip game that I gave to our side. You two disagree. Jarrett, tell us why.
They just got Witherspoon on the outside, along with the All-Pro. Who they have at cornerback last year? That All-Pro 6th-round pick they had.
Woolen or something like that.
Yeah, Woolen. They have monster cornerbacks. Their defense is, not that great up front, but, they can still get the job done. Derrick Henry in the cold. I took the loss at home. But they got weapons, man. If Geno Smith can stay healthy again and do what he did last year, this year.
That's a big if.
They got fucking weapons. Kenneth Walker, they just got JSN. Tyler Lockett, and they got DK Metcalf.
Yeah, I forgot they got Smith and Jigma too.
So they got weapons.
Too late now.
Yeah, no, I agree with Jared. I think they're just going to have too much firepower for us to keep up with, unfortunately. You never know. It's at home. We've beaten them before, but those were 2 different teams on our side and their side. But I just don't see in us, gun to my head, being able to keep up with that offense. And I agree with Jared. Their defense isn't there yet, but they're building a nice little core on the defensive side of the ball. So, unfortunately, I see us taking the loss there at home.
Yeah, I don't personally think that Geno Smith's going to have another career year. I mean, he's had too many average to below average years. I think it was just flash in the pan last year. I think he's better than a lot of people think he is, but I mean, I don't think he's taken them to 2 postseasons. I think that's a stretch. So we'll see. Like I said, I kind of felt that was a sort of a coin flip game, forgetting about the additions on offense that they made in the draft. But I'm going to stick to my guns here and say at home. It's a game that's probably going to be super important for us. at least in the division, with 2 division games coming at the end. So I have us taking that one. So let's quickly wrap up. 2 teams we had already faced to end the year. At Texans, home to the Jaguars. Kind of all over here. You guys, me and Jared, are on the same page with Houston. Vin, thanks for taking that one. And then me and Jared are the same, and we got it flipped. So, Vin, start us off here. You think we're beating the Texans on the road and then losing to Jacksonville at home?
Yeah, I think, like I said, we sweep the Texans, we sweep the Colts, and we're going to find our troubles against the Jaguars, who are on the rise. I don't think this is a game where Houston's going to be playing for anything. And if our boy wasn't playing with C.J. Stroud week 15, he definitely might not be playing this game, because I don't think they're going to have much to play for at this point in the year. But we shall see. Either way, I don't care who's on the field. These are going to be games that we're going to need to win if we want to win that division, and I think we take care of business in in Houston.
It's in Texas too, by the way.
It is in Texas, yeah. Threw me off a little bit.
No, I have them split in with these 2 games. Like I said, road we're losing. At home we're going to win. So just to hit both of those, I like what the Texans did so far on the offseason. They got a strong defense. And we lose that game at home, we're going to beat the Jaguars week 18 at home. Plain and simple.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this just to piggyback a little bit on what you said, Vin. I don't think there's any scenario where Bryce Young doesn't play this whole year. CJ Stroud. I'm sorry. Just because you picked the kid 3rd overall, and to just pull him at the end of the season, I think would really not do him any favors.
Yeah, I mean, but if they don't have much to play for, and who knows, he could be banged up at that point. I know I'm just pulling shit out of my ass, but it's not the craziest thing in the world.
It's not.
Struggling, late in the season without anything to play for.
I mean. We'll see. I just think I think it's his team. They want to make him feel like it's his team. So we'll see. I don't think it's gonna, even if he plays or doesn't play. I mean, this all hinges on how his rookie year is going to be. If he's as good as we think he is, then he should definitely be playing. So we'll see how that turns out. But like I said, I had us winning all the home games, losing all the road games in the division. So that's where my thought process went on that. So all right, we wrapped everything up as a whole. And now, like we said, we'll just briefly go through what our overall record is, and quickly, briefly touch on what we pretty much said already. Jarrett, you start us off. I believe you have us winning 10 games, going 10-7. Is that correct?
Going 10-7. Listen, we have the 5th easiest schedule going into this year. I know I keep talking about that, and there are very favorable matchups. I wrote down some of the quarterbacks we're playing this year. And we're playing 4 really good quarterbacks in Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Trevor Lawrence twice, and Justin Herbert. Right? Those are, you would say, the elite guys that we play on the rosters. I mean, on the schedule right now. Then you have Deshaun Watson. Then you have Tua, Derek Carr, and Geno Smith. Yeah. Desmond Ridder, Kenny Pickett, and then you have C.J. Stroud twice, Bryce Young, and Anthony Richardson twice. Do those quarterbacks really scare you? Watson. It's a Watson, literally, or on the football field?
Well, both. Yeah, he scares me.
So it's a very favorable.
On his back or his stomach.
I tweeted it out earlier when we saw the schedule. It's a very favorable schedule for us. Okay, especially with our defense, and I think we're going to add pieces still to this team. Vrabel's not going into this season with a receiving room the way it is right now. And if I had to pick a flip-flop game right now, I'm going to have us losing, even though I said we're going to kick a game-winning field goal in London. I'm going to have us losing to the Ravens, and I'm going to switch the Panthers. We'll beat the Panthers at home. So it'll still bring us to a 10-7 record. I still think we win the AFC South. And the Jaguars may finish 10-7 too, but we get the strength and whatever. The tiebreaker in the division, maybe, hopefully.
All right, Vin, I know you're on the same page as me, as least record's concerned. You have us going 9-8. Want to just briefly touch on again what got you that?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a team that's either going to go 9-8, 8-9, or at our worst, I think we can go 7-10 or 6-11. It depends on a few different things. But I think Mike Vrabel is such a good head coach that he could coach. I don't know who said it on the show not too long ago. I want to say Jake Robertson maybe can coach a JV softball team to 10 wins. So I think that him as our head coach, if Henry stays healthy, I'm going to assume that Tannehill's our quarterback. Maybe we add another receiver in the likes of Jarvis Landry, reunite him with Tannehill for $1 million. Who knows? But I do think this is a team that will be competitive. we're going to lose some close games. We're probably going to win some close games. I don't see us winning. 10 wins would surprise me a little bit. Anything more than that, I think you are just crazy to believe that this roster as constructed can win more than 10 games. It's going to hinge on our defense. What?
You guys are saying roster. It's just a receiver room.
It's very important,
Our
Jared.
offensive line has improved, but we haven't seen
The
them
offensive line's a hell of a lot better than
We
last
don't know
year.
that yet. We're assuming that.
yet. We haven't
We're
seen them play
assuming that.
together yet.
We're
So,
assuming.
you know, listen, I won't be surprised if they go 10-7, but I also won't be surprised if they go 7-10.
No,
you know,
absolutely
but
not.
there are games on the schedule, and who knows with these Titans, man. We beat teams all the time we're supposed to lose to, and then we lose the teams we're supposed to beat. So this team's been driving us crazy for quite some time, but I think there's going to be a lot of close games in there that could go either way. And, you know, the football bounce is funny, man. It doesn't bounce back and forth. It bounces all kinds of goofy ways. And if the bounces go your way some weeks, you get to win. You know, if we would have made that field goal week 1 against the Giants, we win that division, you know, plain and simple. But we missed it. So few breaks go our way. I think this 9-8, 10-7 is reasonable. If not, I think we're going to be around the 6-10, 6-11, 7-10, you know, type record.
Yeah, I think a lot of our season is going to hinge on two things specifically, and it's kind of cliche, but you know, it's just the bottom line. One is going to be the health of Derrick Henry, and two is going to be can Tim Kelly call a competent offense? Because, you know, we've said this a million times already. Todd Downing single-handedly lost us some football games last year. So forget about making a field goal here and there. I mean, if we had a different guy with a headset on, we might be going to the AFC South championships or we're hanging another banner that none of us really care about, but at the end of the day, getting into the playoffs. So that's what's really going to, what this is all going to hinge on. Can this guy make the most of what he has? He doesn't have a lot, you know. The bottom line is you need a competent receiving core to go deep in the playoffs. So right now you got one guy who's injury prone and a bunch of guys looking to make a name for themselves, a lot of which were on the team last year that didn't do that, whether because of injury or not. It is, you know, it is what it is. So Kyle Phillips has to show up. You know, he's got to be a 700+ yard receiver this year. He's going to have to be. This is the bottom line. Not expecting anything out of Chris Moore, maybe 300-400 yards. If he surprises me, we'll see. Chig's got to get much more involved. I want to see his targets doubled this year. Hopefully this Wiley Cat's the real deal as well. He could be a shining star that we bring in and just goes bananas. So we'll see how things shape up. But right now, as things stand now, this is a team that is going to have to grind and fight for every victory they get. And I just don't see them getting more than 9. I think 9-8 is just I feel really good about that prediction, unless something, like I've said a million times, the same phrase, unless a needle mover shows up, which I just don't see where that's coming from and, you know, how it's going to happen. So 9-8 is where I'm at, and I'm definitely sold on that. And like I said, hopefully if my predictions come to fruition before the bye week and we have one win going into the bye week, then the Bluegrass Badass shows up and we go on a tear. And maybe we get another week 18, all one for all, an all for one game. Levis, Lawrence. At least that time it's home. Maybe it's prime time. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. So we'll see how it all plays out. But 9-8 is my prediction. That's where we are. So another long show, man. It's amazing how time flies when you're having fun. Obviously, we're going to keep you guys up to date with whatever happens. We're coming close to that June 1st deadline, so I'm sure we'll have a ton to talk about, because if he's still here, then we know exactly where the direction we're going in. So, you know, anything you guys want to share before we wrap up tonight?
You want to go since you always cut me off?
Floor is yours, Senator.
Nah, it's always good shooting the shit with you guys, especially, you know, the schedule. We finally have something to talk about. Wait. Yeah, with the schedule. And we're going to be on Titan Rossi tomorrow night. So shout out to Titan Rossi. Check us out on that show tomorrow night. I think 9 p.m. we go live with him. So looking forward to that.
He's prepared for getting cut off multiple times.
Yeah.
He's in for a rude awakening when he tries to get a sentence in edgewise.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe tomorrow night we'll talk about that throw that went viral for Will Levis rolling out the pocket down the sideline.
Yeah. If he was wearing a 17 jersey, it would have been, get the fuck out of here.
If it was
Daniel couldn't make that throw when he was 21.
It's getting picked off. Like Vrabel said, it's getting picked off.
Yeah, it's getting picked off. Yeah, you know what? If it's thrown to fucking Racey McMath, it's getting fucking picked off. You're damn right it is. So why don't you do something about it and go trade for somebody so we don't have an embarrassment for a fucking receiving core? How about that? How about we worry more about that rather than whether or not it's getting picked off, because everybody wants to just shit all over this kid because he plays for Kentucky. Get a grip, all right? It's been a while, and I needed to do that. I'm sorry.
I can tell.
So go eat a fucking banana. Go put some fucking mayonnaise in your coffee and get on board. Get on board, because this is the kid.
We have no choice to be on board.
We don't have a choice, but get it out of your head about we don't want Tannehill starting this year. I know you two don't. You two do. I don't. We shouldn't want to. This kid's ready. This kid's
already put words in my mouth.
You did.
I've taken a bit of a step back on that because I think if we want to see what this kid's like for 4 years as opposed to 3, let's throw him in there. And if you go 6-11, so be it. You'd almost rather that than go 7-10 or 8-9 or 9-8 with Tannehill and get stomped in the wild card game. But let's save some content for tomorrow night.
Absolutely. This kid's already mentoring fucking rookies at camp. That's all I need to say. So I'm
maybe you can have a few words with your boy Malik Willis, so you can help him out.
Yeah, maybe he can mentor him.
I don't know who that is. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know of that name. Anyway, obviously I do. I'm sorry, Malik. It's just you're too far away. Blame Tyler Rowland. He was the one that really put the nail in his coffin for me with that 0 to 10 analogy that really fucked me up. So anyway, we're going to wrap up tonight. As always, make sure to like, subscribe, share the show with your friends. We're continuing to grow. We need all help we can get, and you guys have been awesome. Commenting. Some guy told me I look like I'm on cocaine the other night. I'm sorry for that one. I was having a little bit of an anxiety issue that night, so I made sure I popped in his Zanny before we hit the show tonight so I didn't get anyone irritated. So
sponsored by Pfizer this week.
This week's sponsored by Pfizer. Thank you very much. No, not the vaccine though, just their other products. We might have to slice that one out. Anyway, as always, guys, have a great night, great week, great day. Tighten up, and we'll see you on the flip. Sammy, send me out.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Talking Titans on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.